Our fucking head. Hey, Giant, what's Marine Corps birthday?
Tavern, Philadelphia, that's the city of brotherly love.
How many is that, Cortez?
26 in a row.
What are you doing?
What's happening?
You don't see shit, right?
I don't see shit.
Repeat after me!
This is my rifle.
Shut the fuck up and repeat after me!
Without me,
Fucking shoot me! Shoot me in the fucking face!
I don't want to.
You fucking...
The story kicks off with drill instructor Fitch greeting the fresh batch of recruits at the USMC barracks. He's not playing around. He tells them there are no black or white soldiers here, only green. Then he gets up close and personal with Swafford, asking if his dad served. Swafford replies, "Yes, sir." Next, the instructor wants to know if he's got a girlfriend, and Swafford says, "Yes, sir." But instead of a pat on the back, Fitch hits him with a nasty comment about someone else probably hooking up with her. That's when Swafford starts wondering if signing up for the Marines was a huge mistake. When asked why he's even there, Swafford sarcastically says, "I got lost on my way to college, sir." Soon, the recruits are shipped off to Camp Pendleton. The senior officer isn't impressed with Swafford and assigns him to the 2nd platoon, saying, "It's full of losers. Maybe you can whip them into shape." The platoon, though, gives Swafford a not-so-warm welcome by attacking him with a red-hot branding iron. He passes out, only to wake up later and realize they didn't actually brand him. It was just a prank. Troy, one of the guys, tells him, if you really want to brand, you gotta earn it, still regretting his choice to enlist. Swafford fakes poisoning himself by downing a bunch of laxatives. He starts reflecting on his life. His dad was tough and distant, his mom struggled with depression, and his sister had mental health issues. The only bright spot? His girlfriend, Christina, who promised she'd wait for him no matter what. But before he can dwell on it too much, Staff Sergeant Sykes offers him a chance to join the Scout Sniper Regiment. Sykes mentions the branding prank, saying, "Looks like you're not dumb, so stop acting like it. You've got potential." Swafford isn't thrilled and tries to get out of it, but Sykes tricks him into showing up for what he thinks is a bugle audition. Turns out it's sniper training, and he makes a fool of himself. But after the public embarrassment, Swafford decides to stick it out. Training kicks into high gear, and Swafford starts finding his groove. He even begins to fantasize about his future sniper kills. Then, tragedy strikes during a training exercise. One of the recruits freaks out and stands up during live machine gun fire. He gets shot in the head, and the sergeant yells at his lifeless body, "I told you to keep your head down." Despite the chaos, Swafford finishes sniper training alongside 7 others. He's paired with Troy, who becomes his spotter. Troy isn't happy though. He wants to be the shooter, not the backup guy. Sykes drills them with the sniper code. "Without my rifle, I am nothing." Meanwhile, the world takes a dark turn as Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait. The news gets the soldiers hyped. Finally, a real war. The U.S. starts deploying troops for Operation Desert Shield. Lieutenant Colonel Kaczynski briefs the Marines, warning them about nerve gas, even showing them a picture of a kid who suffered from it. That freaks everyone out a bit. But instead of going in guns blazing, their mission is to protect Saudi oil fields. Kaczynski jokes, "Gentlemen, we're talking about a lot of oil here." As the platoon settles into their desert camp, boredom becomes the real enemy. Swafford spends his downtime looking at a picture of Christina. The other guys joke about her, saying things like, "You better hope she doesn't move on while you're stuck here." One soldier, Cortez, calms the group by showing off a photo of his pregnant wife. Sykes, always the tough guy, keeps them on their toes. He forces the platoon to run drills in chemical suits, shouting, "You're all dead if you can't move faster." Their daily routine becomes a repetitive grind. Formations, patrols, throwing grenades, and standing guard over nothing. As days turn into weeks, boredom really sets in. To pass the time, the guys organize scorpion fights and gamble on the outcomes. Swafford sums it up: when boredom hits, you've got options. Write letters, clean your rifle, or, well, you know, they even create a wall of shame to display photos of soldiers' girlfriends and wives who've dumped them while they're away. Swafford starts worrying about Christina. One of the guys teases him, saying, "Don't worry, her picture will end up on the wall soon enough." Journalists visit the camp, and Sykes warns the soldiers to be careful about what they say. When asked, Swafford talks about Christina, calling her the only person he truly cares about. To show off for the reporters, Sykes makes the soldiers play football in the desert heat while wearing chemical suits. It's over 110 degrees, and everyone's miserable. Afterward, the Marines rebel by stripping off their suits and swearing up a storm. Sykes punishes them by making them build a massive sandbag pyramid, only to tear it down later. Back in his tent, Swafford receives a letter from Christina. She mentions a guy named Carl, a night manager at her job, and describes him as a great listener. This sends Swafford spiraling. The other soldiers mock him, saying she'll definitely end up on the wall of shame. Kruger, one of the more thoughtful guys, advises him to call her before jumping to conclusions. Swafford eventually calls Christina. At first, the conversation seems fine, but when he brings up Carl, she suddenly pretends there's a bad connection and hangs up. This only makes him more paranoid. As if things couldn't get worse, one of the soldiers, Deadman, invites everyone to watch a video he received from his wife. Instead of a heartfelt message, the tape shows her cheating on him with their neighbor. It's her way of getting back at him for his own past infidelities. Troy steps in, comforting Deadman and telling the others to back off. Swafford, meanwhile, can't get Christina or Carl out of his head. He feels like he's losing his mind. Desperate for a distraction, he buys alcohol from another soldier and joins the Christmas Eve party. But things go south when O'Donnell accidentally starts a fire while cooking sausages. The fire spreads to a crate of flares, causing chaos as everyone thinks they're under attack. The soldiers rush out with their weapons, only to realize it was all because of some burnt sausages. The following day, Swafford is standing in front of the platoon under the blazing sun. And guess what? He pukes right there, earning everyone's attention. Sykes steps in, clearly unimpressed. "So, you got all that unauthorized crap out of your system?" he asks. To top it off, Sykes busts Swafford down to private for ditching his watch duties and assigns him the glorious task of cleaning out the outdoor toilet. Not exactly the military glory he signed up for. Huh? At this point, Swafford is completely disillusioned with his time in the Marines. Later, Swafford and O'Donnell are stuck together, working on assembling and taking apart rifles. But things are far from chill between them. Swafford's still holding a grudge. "What if I told you I was going to kill you for screwing me over like that?" he snaps. O'Donnell defends himself, insisting it was an accident, but Swafford isn't buying it. An accident? Like when this trigger slips, he sneers, even loading his rifle and pointing it right at O'Donnell's head. As things escalate, Cortez walks out of the tent, pretending he didn't see anything. Things spiral out of control when Swafford makes O'Donnell recite the sniper code. "Without my rifle, I am nothing," he yells at him, pushing him over the edge. Then, as if snapping out of a trance, Swafford breaks down, crying over what just happened. While patrolling in the desert, Troy calls Swafford out for his reckless behavior with O'Donnell. He orders Swafford to apologize, but before he can finish, gunfire breaks the tension. Barely visible figures appear on the horizon, and the Marines form a defensive line. Swafford steps forward, speaking to the strangers in Arabic, trying to negotiate. It's tense. "Don't touch the rifle," he warns. It turns out, someone had shot their camels. The strangers leave, clearly upset. On their way back, the platoon chats about what just went down, surprised that Swafford knows Arabic. But then, Fowler proudly admits he shot the camels for fun, just to break the monotony. Everyone glares at him, realizing they almost killed 9 innocent people because of his idiocy. Fowler, oblivious, starts flirting with a girl he spots in a passing car, showing off his Arabic skills with lines like, "Hey, teach me some of that Arabic. What's up? Come suck my..." Sykes interrupts the nonsense with a serious announcement. Operation Desert Storm is officially underway. Iraq's invasion of Kuwait has been confirmed, and now it's time to get real. The soldiers are pumped, ready to finally put their training to use. But the enemy's got chemical weapons, so the Marines are issued atropine pills and syringes. The catch: the pills aren't fully tested, and everyone has to sign a waiver before taking them. Kruger flat out refuses, joking, "I'll take the pills, and a year from now, my guts will turn inside out, and I'll start talking to walls." Sykes, not having any of it, forces everyone to comply. though Kruger spits out his pill when no one's watching. As the sun sets, they start digging sleeping holes. Overhead, American fighter jets zoom by, and Troy can't help but vent his frustration. What's the point? While we're busy digging holes, the war's already moving miles ahead. Thanks to the Air Force, Swafford tries to talk to Troy, but Sykes pulls him aside, dropping a bombshell. Turns out, Troy lied about his criminal record to join the Marines, and once they're back in the US, he's getting kicked out. Sykes orders Swafford to keep an eye on him. Later, when Swafford confronts Troy, Troy brushes him off, telling him to mind his own business. That evening, the soldiers receive mail. Among Swafford's package is the t-shirt he'd given to Christina. She sent it back, along with a note saying, "I'll always love you. Ouch." The rejection stings, but Swafford puts his focus on Troy, who seems to need support more than anyone else. The guys in the tent rally around Troy, cheering him up in their own rough way. They even brand him with the Marine insignia, declaring, "You earned it, man." The next day, the platoon comes under enemy artillery fire. While everyone else scrambles for cover, Swafford stands in the open, oddly mesmerized. Sykes snaps him out of it, ordering him to fetch batteries for the signalman. Swafford sprints through the chaos, only to return with dead batteries. Meanwhile, the Iraqis begin to retreat. The Marines advance, only to find themselves under friendly fire from US fighter jets. Mistaking them for the enemy, the jets unleash hell, wounding several soldiers. As they move forward, the platoon stumbles upon a horrific scene, a pile of destroyed vehicles, charred bodies, and wreckage. Among the casualties are civilians, including a little girl. The sight is gut-wrenching. Swafford steps away from the group, overwhelmed by the horror of it all, and vomits. It's a brutal wake-up call to the grim realities of war. As if things couldn't get worse, the Iraqis set fire to the oil wells, causing black rain to pour down on the soldiers. Sykes orders them to dig in, but the shifting wind forces them to relocate. While digging new holes, they spot Fowler off in the distance, messing around with a corpse. When confronted, Fowler shrugs it off, joking about sticking random objects into the dead body's mouth. Disgusted, Troy and Swafford take the corpse away. Later, Sykes shares a candid moment with Swafford, revealing that he could have had a cushy life running a drywall business with his brother. But despite everything, Sykes loves being a Marine and wouldn't trade it for the world. The next morning brings a rare moment of good news. Sykes informs Troy and Swafford that they've been chosen for a special mission, taking out 2 high-ranking Iraqi officers in a nearby control tower. The 2 are thrilled at the chance to finally put their sniper training to use. "Don't thank me," Sykes says. "Just don't get yourselves killed." The mission is intense. Hiding in an abandoned building, Swafford and Troy wait for hours, their sights set on the tower. When the officers finally appear, they prepare to take the shot. But just as Swafford's about to pull the trigger, Major Lincoln barges in, announcing an airstrike instead. Troy pleads to be allowed to take the shot, arguing it won't make a difference. But the Major shuts him down. Devastated, Troy watches as the Air Force steals their kill. "That was my shot," he mutters, crushed. Later, the 2 friends discuss their plans for civilian life. Troy jokes about becoming a drug dealer, while Swafford reflects on how the war has changed them. As they realize their ride back to camp isn't coming, they start walking. Along the way, they hear a noise and brace for a potential attack, only to find their fellow Marines celebrating the end of the war around a bonfire. The mood is festive, but Swafford's frustration boils over. "I never even fired my rifle," he says, firing a single shot into the air. The others follow suit, emptying their guns in a chaotic mix of relief and frustration. A few days later, the troops return home to a hero's welcome. A Vietnam War veteran boards their bus, congratulating them on a job well done. But the praise feels hollow. Swafford visits Christina, only to find her with another man. His hopes for a happy reunion are dashed. Life moves on for the rest of the platoon. Fowler's back to his wild antics in a bar. Kruger's pitching marketing ideas. Cortez is enjoying family life with his wife and kids, and Escobar's stocking shelves at a supermarket. But for others, like Electro, the battlefield calls them back. Tragedy strikes when O'Donnell visits Swafford with heartbreaking news. Troy has passed away. The entire platoon gathers to honor their fallen brother at his funeral. The movie closes with a poignant reminder. No matter what a Marine does after their service, whether it's building a home, loving someone, or raising a child, they will always carry the identity of a jarhead. And that's a wrap, folks. If you enjoyed this recap, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. See you next time